God, you literally seem like you're always on set.
Hi, I'm Sophie Jordan Collins, an LA actress and model, and I try to document my life and give advice. I don't know what I'm doing. I love you.
Number 1, social media is a highlight reel. Number 2, my agents are awesome. Number 3, I self-submit on platforms my agents
Don't use.
But get creative with the spots you look for gigs. You actually have to have your ish together in LA. You just have to look like you have your ish together. And I've gotten very creative, very savvy, and I think pretty good at making my self-submissions stand out. So I'm gonna give y'all
all my juicy little secrets.
My tips on how to book the maximum amount of acting and modeling jobs. Let's go. I'm no expert at all. I've been living in LA doing this for about a year and a half. I'm a 21-year-old college dropout. Take my advice. Obviously, not every single one of these gigs is going to be a Netflix show that makes or breaks you. Like, we're also talking about dinky little internet commercials, just like fun ways to get on set and get. Number 1, be early, especially if you're in a large market like LA or New York. They get oversaturated so quick. I used to do some assistant producing, and literally when I would post an extra casting on casting networks, it would be like $60 for a day rate because it was just like an extra. And I would have like 400 submissions in an hour for a gig that paid $60. So can you imagine the gigs that are bigger, that pay more? I've even spoken with casting directors on like print jobs I've booked and things like that for bigger brands, and he'll tell me like, yeah, I had like 1,000 submissions in the first like 2 hours, and I only looked through the first like couple hundred submissions, and when I found my people, I cut it off. Depends on the casting director. Obviously, I'm sure some are more fair and like want to go through everybody, but a lot of the time for like print and commercial work especially, it's very last minute and they just need to book their people right away. So if they're going through submissions and they already feel like they see somebody who's perfect and who the client will like, they might just go with that person. So 2, actually read the posting and put stuff in the notes if they're asking for it. I know that submitting can be so annoying and draining, guys. Believe me, I know. But read the posting, because a lot of the times they'll say something specific. Even some of them are little tricksters. They'll put like, say winter as the first word in your notes, so I know you read this. Like, some of them get that tricky. Your phone number, include your email, so obviously do that stuff. Specifically for casting networks, always make sure you put your email and your phone number in the notes every single time, because casting networks doesn't allow the casting directors to have that information like Backstage and Actors Access does. You actually have to put it in the notes, and it only lets them message you, and things can get kind of messy on the casting network's messaging. So I'm just making things as easy as you possibly can for the casting director, because things move so quickly in this industry. You just want to have all your ducks in a row. Going along with reading the posting, if the posting is like fitness, female, whatever, like put in the notes, OMG, I do high intensity interval training like 5 times a week. I'm super fit, like like try to put why you're perfect for the role in the notes, especially when it comes to commercials. Even do this if it's a theatrical posting. If it's like, oh, Stacy is like shy and girl next door, I'll be like, OMG, like I was super shy growing up. Like I could totally pull from that in order to play this role. Like that just lets them know that you're taking an interest in their project, which is good to do, so can help you in terms of getting that audition or getting that book. 3, I hope this goes without saying, but have your ish together, or as together as you can. I know as an actor it's very hard to have all of your headshots updated, your reel updated, your resume updated, your website perfect, like all of the things at one time. You finally get everything looking good. Oh, you do another project and suddenly you're waiting on that footage and da-da-da. Like, believe me, I know. Have at least a few quality video clips, a few quality headshots, a few quality modeling shots. Like, just try to look as professional as you possibly can. I always say, and this is kind of bad, but you don't actually have to have your ish together in LA. You just have to look like you have your ish together. Look like they're good. They look like a working actor. This is a little Sophie secret, but get creative with the spots you look for gigs. A lot of people will like crap on like Craigslist or Facebook or things like that for finding gigs, but I've literally booked like crime reenactment that's on A&E from Facebook. It paid really well. It was a super fun experience, very professional set, all of the things, and I booked that from Facebook. Craigslist. I did a healthcare print modeling ad that paid me like $500 for a local health clinic in LA that I got off of Craigslist. Because if you think about it, a lot of these small businesses, they might need a model or an actor, and they're like, well, where do I post? And it costs money to post on like Backstage and Actors Access and stuff like that. So some of them literally post on Craigslist. Obviously be effing smart about what you take from Craigslist. I've done gigs that even felt professional from Craigslist, but then not gotten paid, which effing sucks. but whatever. Freelance websites like Upwork and Fiverr sometimes have acting and modeling jobs, again, just because small businesses and small corporations sometimes don't know where to post them. So you can even check places like that. Let me list all of the places I submit to on or my agents submit me on. Obviously the big ones: Actors Access, Casting Networks, Casting Frontier, Backstage. These ones are Sophie only. Facebook, Craigslist, Upwork, Fiverr, Star Now. Yeah. Instagram, there are Instagram pages that post casting sometimes. I'm obviously speaking about the industry as a whole right now. So kind of like music videos and acting jobs and shows. I'm kind of encompassing it all together. I know it's not technically all in one category, but I'm just kind of just general like gig work that we all have access to is what I'm talking about right now. Obviously not every single one of these gigs is going to be a Netflix show that makes or breaks you. Like, we're also talking about dinky little internet commercials, just like fun ways to get on set and get at that point, talking about how we're kind of talking about internet commercials and da-da-da. I think some actors don't think this is worth their time or their energy. And fully understood, again, there's no right path to becoming an actor, so that might be the path for you. The way I look at it is one thing leads to another in LA. I've worked with some amazing people on like internet commercials, and then I've done a short film later on with them. Like, they've brought me back. We've built a relationship, and one thing leads to another in LA and in life. And you just never know where someone will be. So that person who's doing like an internet commercial or PAing or whatever right now, like, who knows where they'll be in the future. And so by you doing that little gig and being on that set and building a relationship and a connection with them, that might lead to something else for you. I also think you learn from every single set. Yeah, I just think being on set and being involved in the film world in any aspect is awesome and good. And yeah, I don't know. Also, the acting and modeling worlds, they collide a lot nowadays too. So even doing print modeling, I feel like that has benefited me acting wise. Plus, it makes me more confident in front of the camera, things like that. Be open. Don't be so like, blah, blah. An open mind about it if you're closed off. But if they're asking for a audition before you even submit, you know how sometimes they'll attach the sides and they're like, oh, audition before you even submit, which mildly annoys me because I'm like, why would I audition if I'm not even the look you're looking for? You know what I mean? Like, I'd much prefer to just submit my profile and my headshots and my reels, and they could be like, oh, we're totally not looking for a white blonde chick. Like, ugh. Then I won't waste my time self-taping if they're not even looking for my type for theatrical roles. But what I will say is, for commercials, a lot of the time they'll put like a dinky little pre-screen that's just like a super short script or a few lines, or they'll even ask for like a UGC style video if it's a commercial or whatever, as like a pre-screen before they even ask you for the audition, like at the same time you submit. If you can do those pre-screens, I know they're so annoying and so frustrating. And again, sometimes you don't even necessarily know if they're looking for your type. I don't always do it theatrically. And even if they're not looking for your type, if you kill your pre-screen, maybe they'll kind of change their mind. Just know that a lot of us actors don't like to do that. And I know that a lot of my actor friends don't do that. So if you do that, it does set you apart. I've also been on sets where they've told me that like my pre-screen helped them to pick me, and it again, I think goes without saying, but be good to work with, because if you're cool to work with, a lot of the time the same casting directors will bring you back. I work with a lot of the same casting directors commercially and print modeling wise, just because a lot of the time when they need a blonde girl now, they just call me back because they know I'm reliable, they know I'm a semi-decent human being, or I try to be, as opposed to working with somebody new where you don't always know. Number 8, set yourself up to be available for these opportunities if you can. If you're really serious about doing this thing, doing this self-submission game, being really, really open to all of these gigs and all of these opportunities. If y'all follow me, you probably know this is how I make my full-time living, is doing this type of like gig work all of the time. It's possible to make a full-time living off of it. You just gotta hustle a little bit, you know? You have to make sure you're available for this stuff. So I used to work for a social media creator. It was basically a full-time job, like 30, 40 hours a week. And I wasn't always available, and I would have to turn gigs down. The minute I quit that job, my income literally like doubled off of just doing this like freelance type work. Whereas I was scared to give up that set amount of income that I was getting every month, but I didn't realize that that was actually like holding me back financially, and it was holding me back opportunity wise. Up to be available if you can have a flexible job. Obviously, if you're an actor, period, even if you're only doing the like high quality stuff that your agent gives you, you still need to have like a relatively flexible job for auditions and things like that. That just eliminates a lot of stress. Please tell your employers right when you start, like, I'm an actor, that's gonna come first. And at least have your days open, because that's when most of the gigs are. So obviously if you like serve or bartender or whatever, that's perfect. Because for example, I did a shoot like 2 weeks ago. I can't say yeah, ask me in a couple months, but I did a very big print shoot with them, and I got that gig literally the morning of. There was a posting that was like sizes, my height that they were looking for that morning for this huge company because some other girl like dropped out. I had auditions to do that day, but I just worked my schedule out. I had content to shoot that day, but again, I just worked my schedule out. I moved that stuff so that way I could be on set, and I ended up working that day, and they ended up needing me the next day, so I ended up getting 2 days of work from it, and that's going to be, and it ended up being a super cool set because I was actually supposed to be unidentifiable, but I ended up getting bumped up, and it's a SAG production, so it's a pretty awesome thing. And because I was able to rework my life and kind of make everything
Work, it's a SAG commercial, so it's pretty exciting.
And then number 10, just try to make self-submitting fun for yourself. Again, if this is something you kind of want to do full time or just really like dive into for a little bit, find ways to like make it fun, because again, it is draining. It does take a lot of time. People tell me I look like I'm on set all the time, and I will say I've been very blessed, but I also submit constantly. I like to submit while I go on walks. I submit while I'm like waiting in lines places. I do it pretty much all on my phone, just because I always have my phone on me. I've gotten very quick at it. I look like I'm really sweaty and greasy because I am. It's very hot. So I'm gonna go.